Hey everybody, time for another midweek chat. It is May 31st and I'm a little late to the ballpark because Regis High School was just here, and I heard from Steve they won 14-0, so they advance. I don't know if they moved from regionals to sectionals or how that works, but I think they're the defending state champs for their class. So, and I know we got Truman from the parishes on the team. Their coach is Andy Neese, and Andy is a heck of a good guy. And he's a parishioner at St. James, and he was our Phi Ed teacher at St. James Elementary when I started at the parish, and it's just great. He was like super good with like high school seniors and motivating them and being a good mentor coach for them. And then he's also awesome with, come on kindergartners, let's go out to the yard now for gym class. And so just an all-around good citizen, really dedicated to Catholic education all his life. And so anyway, good to see Andy's team doing well. Anyway, so I'm at Carson Park. This is where Hank Aaron used to play. I think one season when they were the Eau Claire Bears, there's a statue of him out there. I did a midweek chat from there once when Hank Aaron died the week after that. So I got some parish news, a few other things. I like this. I dug up this shirt. Sometimes I go through an old drawer and I have my old t-shirts. See that? I don't know if there's a hole in it or not, but as you like it. It's so one year the bishop sent me to California to go study for a year, finish up a degree, and what an opportunity. It was in the Bay Area. So this in my first weekend there, I was just trying to see the city, learn a little bit in San Francisco, and I went to Golden Gate Park, and they were having free Shakespeare plays. It's like life in the big city, you know. So I sat down, I bought this t-shirt, As You Like It. Shakespeare in the Park, 95. It's gonna be a long time ago, 95. Can you believe it? All these things that we do that we feel like were just a few years ago. So 95, 105, 15, 28 years ago. Gosh. So hard to believe. But that's my shirt. I love it. So let's just skip through a bunch of parish news, shall we? It's really a windy day today, but I found a good spot. There's the pine trees. I almost stopped at this place on Half Moon Lake the wind was blowing through the trees. That's my favorite summer, but there's kind of too much exposure of the camera to the wind, so I think it would have been like that. So hopefully sometime summer I'll find a spot where the camera itself is sheltered from the wind, but you can still hear the wind blowing through the trees. That's my favorite summer sound for sure. Okay. Hey, we got a men's Bible study starting, and they're going to just follow the readings of the week. It's kind of what we do with our parish staff. So what they call lectionary based Bible study, kind of look at the readings coming up in the Sunday, and there's a book called At Home with the Word that we have some of our lectors order, and a guy named a new parishioner named Steve is going to lead that, and I think that'll be great. Thanks to Christine for coordinating all that stuff and making it happen. Women's Bible study we have going. They're a nice group. They like each other. They like the Word of God. And they are suspended for the summer, but then they'll be meeting again next, I think they meet on Thursday mornings. So it's great to have people studying the Word in a parish, right? Speaking of, it's also great to have people like in formation to become Catholic in a parish. I mean, it's such a great group. In fact, Nathan, who was baptized with the group this year, he's going to meet me at church in about an hour. He's an IT guy, and I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't stream. On Holy Week, I had this movie about the Pope's international travels. It looks really good. It's called In Viaggio. It's English subtitles. And fortunately, only one person showed up, Alan. So Alan and I were going to watch it anyway on Holy Tuesday. Couldn't get it to work. Usually I can just have this iPhone, plug it into an adapter, plug it into the wall, and it projects on the screen, but it didn't work that day. So hopefully Nathan can figure that out for me, what needs to be fixed. Pie and Ice Cream Social. Thanks, women of the parish who are part of the PCCW, Parish Council of Catholic Women. They're the bake sale people, and they do a lot of, they've encouraged walkathons to end human trafficking. They've given money to seminarians. They just do a lot. They have they pay their dues And they also have these bake sales, and they do great things. They're really supportive of me too. If I need things around the rectory, like an appliance, I can usually count on the PCCW to. They've never let me down if I felt I needed something. So, what was I going to say about it? Oh, so it's not this weekend, but the next weekend. I think it's next weekend, June 11th. They'll have pie and ice cream after each Mass, sponsored by them and served by them. So thanks, ladies, for pie and ice cream. June 11th will be our first parish bike ride of the summer. So we'll have a parish bike ride on June 11th and June 25th for June. The family softball, next one will be June 25th, Sunday night. So June 25th, high level of parish recreation for families. You can do the parish bike ride at noon, go home, take a nap, come back at 6 o'clock for the parish softball. It's a full day, right? We have a wedding coming up on the 10th, so congratulations to Rebecca Jorgensen and David Hudson. They'll be marrying at St. James. It's their first wedding of the summer. We have about 4 of them this summer, I think. Hey, we're going to start selling raffle tickets for Summerfest. After Mass, you can pick up they're going to do 2 raffles. We just couldn't decide. We thought maybe it was just a bridge too far to get people to adjust to a whole different raffle system. Last year we went with high price tickets, but just a limited number of them. So actually a ticket I bought won, which never happens because there weren't that many in the pot. You paid like $100 a ticket, but they only sold 200 tickets or 250, something like that. So this year it'll be 100 tickets. They're only going to sell, $100 tickets. They're only going to sell 200. So, obviously it costs a lot to get in the game, but then your chances of winning are pretty good. Oh, I was going to get the prize. Christine was going to tell me the prize amount, and we forgot to communicate after our meeting. But they're not available after Mass until June 17th anyway. Summerfest, by the way, is the second weekend in August, always. Sometimes we assume everybody knows that. And then the other tickets are $5 a piece or 5 for $20. And so that, a little less to get in the game, a little less chance of winning. But, I think maybe people might prefer that. I'm sure some people prefer one or the other. And those will be ready to pick up after Mass, because those things you pick up and then you return them with the money afterwards. So, and you can get the $100 ones at the office too already if you want to stop by. Okay, so that's parish news. I think that's it for parish news. Okay, so we had a parish Mass this morning, school Mass. It was our last regular Wednesday Mass. We'll have one more school Mass next Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We'll still have our Tuesday morning Mass with adoration afterwards, in case you're wondering. But it was good, and Mrs. Wurs did a nice job choosing the readings out of the children's lectionary for the Feast of the Presentation, which is today, Visitation, which is today. And she chose there are 2 options for the first reading. She chose the second one, and I like the children's translation better, but I'll read you the adult translation because I couldn't get my hands on the children's translation. It's St. Paul's chapter 12, verses 10 to 16. And it's just like good advice, like boom, boom, boom. It's like a greatest hits of Christian advice. It goes like this. You can examine your conscience with these verses. Let your love be sincere. Hate what is evil. Hold on to what is good. Love one another with mutual affection. Anticipate one another in showing honor. Do not grow slack in zeal. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Endure in affliction. Persevere in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the holy ones. Exercise hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Have the same regard for one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Isn't that great? I mean, it's all just boom, 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 boom. And I don't think of Paul as writing like that, but it's from Romans, and everyone believes Paul wrote the letter to the Romans, all the Bible scholar community out there. So, anyway, I asked the kids, it was a little simpler language for the children. I said, and then I read the whole account of Mary's visitation to Elizabeth. But then I said, well, the first reading that Mrs. Wurz read for us. Would you remember? Anybody remember? Maybe you don't, because it was a while ago and there's a lot to take in. And man, it was London was the first one to raise her hand, and she said, "Be sad with those who are sad." That's what she remembered from it. Here was weep with those who weep, but I think it was be sad with those who are sad. And what a wonderful thing to remember from the reading. Compassion, the hallmark of a Christian, right? So I thought, London, that's an awesome thing to remember. And then someone remembered, here it says, don't be wise in your estimation. The translation for the kids was, don't consider yourself to be smarter than others. And I said, and she remembered that. Don't think you're smarter than others. And so the wind picked up a little bit. So I said, well, that's interesting. I think, because sometimes in your classes, aren't there people that are maybe better at math than others? Don't they finish the rocket maths quicker than the others? And they all kind of nodded, yeah. And I go, aren't there some people maybe that are better reading than other people are? They can read more quickly or can figure it out faster. And they said, yeah. And I said, well, what do you think it means then to not think you're smarter than others? If some people kind of have a little bit of, it's a little edgy. Sometimes I go down a road, and I'm sorry I went down that, and I was wondering as I was talking if it was a little too complicated. And I didn't want them to say well, let's just pretend I'm not smarter than them, even though I always get first place in math or whatever, And, what does it mean? And they said great things. They said stuff like, well, if I notice that I'm done with my work first, I can help someone along. I could say, maybe you could look at doing it this way, or help them see better. And it was just all this, how can I help someone who's didn't take the information up as quickly as I did? How can I be helpful there? And I thought, well, those were really great sentences. And then I kind of said, and there's always going to be someone better and someone, if you run a race, someone's going to be faster, someone's slower. Things that we don't measure always so much. Like what London said, who's really good at being with someone who's sad, and really a good friend who's very comforting and good to be with when you're sad. Some people are better at that than others. And the idea is that we're all different, and we all have things that we're better at than average, and there's stuff that we're worse at than average. But the thing is, even if we're better at math or something, we're not better than that person in general. We're all loved by God equally. So anyway, we kind of talked through that a little bit. Someone remembered rejoice with those who rejoice. To be happy with people too, even if we're maybe having a bad day or sad. If we see something really good that happens to someone else, to be able to rejoice with that. That's a real test of I don't know, Christian character or human maturity, however you want to put it. But that our life isn't just about me. Sometimes if you're kind of down in the dumps and you see someone has really good fortune or they're doing really well, or maybe you're struggling with something in life and it's hard, or maybe financial struggles, then you log onto your Facebook and everybody's traveling to Florida or doing all this stuff that you couldn't afford. It might be a challenge to rejoice with those who rejoice. You might resent it a little bit, or maybe not. Maybe you'd see that and say, "Oh, I'm glad they could take that trip together as a family," But to see that kind of we're all in this together somehow. It's not just comparing ourselves and being happy when we're better off than someone else and being sad when we're worse off than someone else, then we're kind of missing the boat, right? I just watched the last episode of Ted Lasso last night. I don't know how many of you might watch that. I got my 3 free months of Apple TV last fall, and then I fell in love with that show. So I kept it until the subscription until that season 3 finished. But there was this reporter following him around, and he was writing he's a coach, and it's like he wanted to study how this coach could be successful. And the name of the book was called The Lasso Way. And he gave it to the coach Lasso to review. And the other coach too, and the other coach had like 124 corrections, and post-it notes and everything. Lasso's gave him back. It was clean, and he said, "It was a good read. You're a good writer. I don't have any problem with it. One thing I'd suggest is the title, though. Instead of calling it the Lasso Way, I'd call it the Richmond Way, which is the name of the team. Because it's never been about me. It's always about the team, and that's sort of how the show ended. There's some more things, but anyway, I think that's right in there with Christian spirituality in St. Paul. We're many parts, one body. It's not about me. It's about the team. People ask. I think I mentioned last week that my mom had several small strokes. It's about a week and a half ago now. So it's been a pretty intense 10 days. She's back in her apartment. It depends who, we get reports. When I see her, I report back to my brothers and my aunt and a friend of hers. And we get reports from others. And some are real hopeful, optimistic, and others are like, she's not doing this, she's not doing this. There's some struggle. So it's definitely been definitely a setback. But she's back in her apartment and she's receiving more care. And we're hoping that she adjusts to that and can have happy days yet. So my goal on Monday when I went to Wausau to see her was to go to the cemetery with her. And I was surprised because she just kept talking about how she's very tired, which I think is common after strokes. And even though I said, well, Mom, it's Memorial Day. I was thinking, let's go to the cemetery. And that means to visit the grave of my sister, Anne, who died when she was 20 in a car accident, and my dad, who died 23 years ago of a large stroke. And so she said, okay. And I was surprised, but I was pleased. So we got up, we took the walk with her walker, and actually she was just on my arm to the car when I'm there, and got in the car, and we made it all the way to the cemetery, about a 15-minute drive. And she didn't really want to get out of the car because she was tired. I'm like, yeah, let's get out of the car. It's only 25 feet, Mom. We can do it. And you never know when you're pushing someone or if it's good to be a little assertive. I think it was good. And a friend of hers had given her some fresh cut flowers, so we took those flowers to the graves, and I gave them to Mom, and Mom dropped them on the 2 gravestones. So I kind of wish I just stood there and held her hand. I wanted to show my brothers where we were, so I took a picture of her from kind of behind her and on the side a little bit. Sometimes we get too obsessed with, or I do, with the camera work, and I forget to just be present in the moment. So I kind of wish I just stayed there and held her hand. But I was really glad we could go to the cemetery. And then I we went to a boat landing, and I saw a little bench there, and she did not want to get out, and I kind of cajoled her to getting out of the car at the cemetery, so I didn't want to do it again. So I put the car right next to the bench. I got out and sat on the bench, and she sat in the car. We split a carbonated lemon water kind of deal, and didn't say too much. I think my goal with her, and maybe in general, is just to, you don't have to say that much. But we just kind of looked out at the water, and there were kayakers going up and down. There's a lovely family of 3, a young couple with like a 2-3-year-old son who enjoyed getting out of their canoe and having the time of their life. And Mom had a big smile on her face looking at that. So it was nice. Last thing, I brought a, I should say, thanks to everybody who's been concerned, asking me how Mom is, and for your prayers, and for sharing your stories. It's my dad died suddenly, so we didn't have the whole caretaking thing or recuperating from a major setback. He had this major stroke and was dead in minutes. So Mom was with him at the time. So, but I appreciate how many of you are caretaking for your aging parents and grandparents, and God bless us all, huh? Yeah. There was a show, I think it's going to be a movie. I thought it might be better, not that it was bad, but I thought it might really grip me. It was on caretakers. It's called Unconditional, which I think is a reference to unconditional love. And it's going to be in the theaters. I don't know if it'll get to a smaller market like Eau Claire, but it was free on TV the other day, so I watched half of it, then it got really late. It aired at 10 p.m. But I'll see if I can get some insights off that, and I can report at another chat. Last thing, since it's the Feast of Visitation, a Feast of Mary, I thought I'd bring this. So this is a devotion that Pope Francis has. It's kind of a famous image of Mary called Our Lady Untier of Knots. Mary Untier of Knots. And it's just kind of a nice image when life's a little messy for you and you're not, everything isn't in perfect order. Right now I got birds living in my ducts. They snuck in I think it's the bathroom fan duct, and I was trying to catch, I got this sinus infection now. I was trying to catch a little nap, and I just kept hearing this noise, and I thought, are there workers on the roof? What's going on? And then I went into the bathroom, and it was just like they were right in the cupboard. It was so loud. So they got in the duct somehow. I'm hoping to kind of scare them out. And then under the eave, there's newly hatched sparrows. I heard them chirping, so I don't know. Good luck sleeping in the morning with those guys. Anyway, so those would be some little minor knots in life when birds are building a nest in your house. It's always just kind of pray with this image. It's like, help me just sort of live with the messiness of my life. Help me untie some of these knots. Try to make life a little bit smoother so I can be a little more free to be a servant of God in the world and not worried so much about what's going on in my life. It's not about me, right? It's about the team, as Coach Lasso said. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that image with you. It doesn't say too much about it on the back. I'd read you. So, let's call it a day, huh? I'll let you look at the next Regis playoff game is going to be in Webster, Wisconsin. So I think that's it for the home team games here. So anyway, loving God, we thank you for our lives. We thank you for summer, birds that chirp, hopefully not in our ducts, but in the trees. But they're all your creation. We all need to be concerned for that. So thanks for the gift of life. Help us to savor its goodness these days. And Holy Mary, on this feast of your visitation, we remember you as a young woman going to be mentored perhaps by your older cousin Elizabeth, who was already 6 months pregnant when you conceived, and you helped her bring her pregnancy to birth when John the Baptist was born. So we thank you for your motherly care for us, and you who untie knots, be with those who are most stressed out today. Help them take a breath and sense the work of the Holy Spirit in their hearts, that they are loved and all shall be well. Help us to be faithful. Amen. Okay, God bless you.